of success. We are live on Instagram, and I am waiting for my friend Jihan to join us. Yay! Success! Hi, my dear.
Success. We did it. I'm so
We
good.
we did it.
So glad to be here with you.
I'm glad that you're able to do this today. We're so excited to have you. This, just to give our viewers a little bit of a background, what this is today is an opportunity for people to meet the authors. Oh, Jada's here too. Hi, Jada. One of our other sisters. Jihan, Bouraad, and you're gonna have to pronounce the last name for me. Marco Tio. Tilo. Marco Tillo.
My new last name is Marco Tullio.
Marco
Yeah, a lot of
Tullio. That's
syllables.
amazing. That's
Yes.
amazing.
I went from Jihan Bouraad to now Jihan Bouraad Marco Tullio, figuring out about Bouraad whether to drop it or not. But
Oh
for
gosh,
now,
I love your
it's
last name.
all of
I love your last
them.
name.
Thank you.
Well, of course. And we're doing this live today because, and people will read about it in the description, but Jihan is one of our authors who contributed her personal story to Raise a Vibration, a weekly guide, which is a 52-week journey through the chakras, through personal stories, through journaling prompts, all with the intention to sculpt your brain, sculpt your body, sculpt your emotional intelligence and spiritual intelligence so that you can maintain the highest vibration possible for you in your life and take advantage of this incredible life. And I just want to introduce everyone to Jihan because she's an extraordinary person. She's worked alongside Anthony and I professionally for many years. That's how we met originally. And she is an incredible healer and a new mama. Well, not new anymore, really. I mean, it still probably feels super new, but time passes quickly. But she's really become like family to Anthony and I, and I'm just so excited to have you here. Oh,
Thank you so much. Yes, I wish we were both in New York still working together in that way, but I'm so glad that's how we met. And it still feels new being a mama because every day she's doing
I
something different.
bet.
My
Yeah.
daughter's now nine and a half months old, so it's still
Wow.
totally new.
9.5 months. My
Yeah,
goodness. And you
yeah.
look gorgeous. I love all your
Thank you.
pictures.
Thank you.
So she is so precious. Like I can't get over like when I think about to like a year ago before she was born and us talking about everything, and you've been through so much in the last couple years, like so many people have, but it's just
Yeah.
been such a transformational time for so many people. And so it's so good to have you here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I
Absolutely.
love
Well, I
you.
just want you to kind of let our author or our viewers know, since you're one of the authors for this book, we're going to talk about the theme of truth today. And that's really the encapsulating uh, message that I got from your story that you contributed. And the story is called Anywhere But Here. That's the title of the story that you contributed. But before we talk about the story, I would love for you just to share with our viewers who you are. And I know they know now that you're a mama and you've worked with us and you do healing work, but just give us a little bit more background about you.
Thank you. So hello everyone that's on with us live. I keep looking back and forth because we
I
are
know.
in two places at once. So I think I'm just going to focus right here for
Yeah,
now.
yeah. I have
So
the
yeah,
same thing. I'm like,
my name is Jihan. I am a licensed massage therapist. I'm a Reiki master. I do healing work. So along with doing hands-on work, I can do distance healing. I give messages from your guides, your spirits, if you will.
mm,
That's something new that I'm talking about, but that is what I do. I also help
so
people
exciting.
find natural solutions for their whatever is going on, whether it's emotional, physical, energetic. So yeah, that is what I do. I'm a mama, I'm a friend, I love to dance. I mean, that's just a little bit about me.
It's so funny you say that because just this morning I saw this incredible post of this dancer who was just super free doing like African dance and just stunning, but it's like African slash belly dance. So it's just the masterful manipulation of the body in such a beautiful way. And I thought, hey, it's Saturday. It's a perfect day to dance.
Yes, yes. Actually, Rhea just started dancing, so that's something
Oh
really
my
exciting.
gosh.
Yeah, I'll have to
Rhea
post a
is her
video of
daughter, just so
that. It's
those
my
of you who don't
daughter.
know. That's incredible. Oh my gosh, I bet she's adorable. We need to see some videos of that for sure.
I will
So
share.
Talk to us about the story that you contributed to this book, Anywhere But Here. It's a very intimate story, just like all of these that were beautifully donated to this book of contributing personal stories. And there's such art and richness in storytelling when we're able to share what we've been through with others, hear what they've been through, and then have this pool of collective knowledge, this beautiful pool of wisdom. And that's really how this book started. I'll just give the viewers a little bit of background with this. In March of 2020, when we all remember this, the lockdown started happening. And as a teacher, as a community leader, I always listen to guidance. I always listen to like what's the best thing I could do? How can I best be of support or service in this circumstance? Because it helps me personally to be of service, to feel purposeful, but then also it just brings whatever I need to bring or brings whatever might be missing to the equation. And I got a very simple message that day that said, get them to focus on their resilience. And I didn't know who them was. I just assumed people I knew and my community. So what I interpreted with that is maybe people could write their stories of resilience. And so I reached out to my community, as my community is really very used to me doing now, and was like, hey, do you guys want to be a part of this thing I'm doing? I want to put together stories of resilience. You want to write like 1,000 words or less about something you overcame in your life and what you wish you had known when you were going through it that you can contribute to. Maybe we're going to put a book together. I really didn't know. And intuitively being guided, there ended up being 52 authors, including Anthony and I. And I thought, well, that can't be. I mean, that's kind of how I'm guided. I just don't know the next step. And I'm like, okay, what's next? I'll just do this and keep going. And really felt like I was blindfolded going through this process for sure. I still kind of feel that way. But it ended up being 52 authors. And I thought that can't be a coincidence with 52 weeks of the year. Perhaps this can be a weekly practice for people, and then started integrating some chakra wisdom with every story, journaling prompts, weekly exercises and check-ins so that people could align themselves really easily with like a guide. So Jihan, would you just share about a little bit without giving too much away about your story and like why you chose this story versus other stories? Why was this one important to you? Because it is a significant story of overcoming inauthenticity.
Yeah.
Really.
I love that I'm included in this project. I just have to say again and again and again. The title of my story, Anywhere But Here, and what the story that I wrote about, why I chose it, is I think that phrase, Anywhere But Here, was the overarching theme of my life for a really long time.
Hmm.
And I love that you just said inauthenticity, and truth. It is my week, I guess, or I saw the mock-up of the book, and truth written pretty large in the upper left corner, and I thought, yes, that's for me, because it took so long for me, in my opinion. It took me so long to live and stand in my truth because I was so worried about the approval of others, what others thought of me. And not to say that that doesn't sometimes still come, like you said with this project, you
Yeah.
didn't know, you got the guidance, but you didn't have the roadmap, or you didn't see, okay, this step and then this step, and this is going to happen. You just went with it. So sometimes that still comes up. But the story that I shared is really about a several year journey, condensed into 1,000 words, but a several that
I know that was a challenge, right?
was a
Most people are
challenge.
like, what?
Yeah, but several years of standing in why I'm here. The story isn't just, it's really about, who is Jihan and why is she on the planet at this time? That's how I would sum it up without giving much away. What is my
Yeah.
purpose? And of course, it's, there's always metamorphosis that happens as things come in and out. But
Hmm.
I wanted to share that story because also what's included in the story is what was happening to me in being inauthentic, how my health was affected,
Hmm.
where my mind was at. So I hope that those people who read it, um, if they're not standing in their truth, if they are looking outside of themselves for validation, that they stop doing that. and that they hold on and they know they're not alone.
Mm.
That's why I chose to share this story.
It's such a gift. Honestly, I get chills every time I think about the people and the wisdom who are part of this book, and the vulnerability and the gift of transparency, of really sharing our stories, because it's every single story isn't pretty. There's some gross element to every one of our stories that's like,
Yeah.
I'd rather not talk about this. And you said, like, in sharing the truth, like, yeah, because I even have the mock-up right here. This is your story. Here, I'll give a
Yeah.
little taste, but it's still in a binder because we're about to print it and just going through the final stages of editing. And yeah, that truth, I mean, that's the thing that stood out so much, because if we are living in inauthenticity, we're
Mm-hmm.
so imprisoned by all of the shoulds or the other projections from other people or our own expectations or society's standards or whatever it is, and then we're really living someone else's story. And you share things that people would not want to share with the public, and it's such a gift. And that's what all the other authors are doing with this. This is what I did in my story. It's things that you share that are you'd rather keep hidden, but in sharing them, you're set free.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't have a hold on me.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's
It wastes a
there.
lot of energy to try and
Yeah.
hide, you know?
Oh my gosh, so much energy. Yeah. No, no more of that. Mm-mm.
And it's a beautiful
And it,
gift. Yeah. Go ahead.
thank you. Yeah. And it, in saying your truth and freeing yourself of those shackles, at least for me, let's just say someone had their opinion or thought a certain way about it. It doesn't really matter anymore because I'm the one who owns it and I stand
Mm.
in it as my truth. So to have it pointed out to me or something, yeah, yes, actually that did happen. Thank you.
Yeah.
Move on.
Yeah.
It's
That's a
not
part
it's
of
not
my
a dirty little
story.
secret anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, I find that we
Well,
talk so
thank you,
much.
Shelley. Sorry, I saw a nice
Oh,
comment.
beautifully
Thank you, Shelley.
honest. Absolutely is. Oh, thank you, Shelley. Yes, and that is what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, with sharing our vulnerability, it allows us to own who we are, and we throw around this idea of self-love all the time. Love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. And you know, what does that even mean? Like, really, I mean, for the
Right.
longest time, I would hear that and just be like eye rolling in my mind, sometimes literally eye rolling, because it's like, okay, well, how do you love yourself, and who is the self? Really, who is the self? Is it what I see in my 4,000 images that we're inundated every single day with what we should look like? I mean,
Mm,
your story addresses like this idea of what you thought you should have been based on other
mm-hmm.
people's standards. And
Mm-hmm.
what is self-love but I love the quote by Rumi, who says, our task is not to seek for love, but to seek and remove all the barriers that we have to it. And that if we don't know who we are, and that is a lifelong journey, isn't it? It's always unfolding. If we're not honoring our path, then we can't truly love ourselves in the moment. It's like this patchwork. Oh, I love having this patchwork behind me when I'm coaching or having these interviews. It reminds us that it's messy. Life is messy, but it's your story, and nobody has your story. That's what I think is so extraordinary about everyone who's contributed is in this process. So many people talk about the gift that they got in writing the story. What was your personal process in putting these things down and writing and sharing them? Because at the end of the book, our dear, lovely friend and sister Zia came up with the brilliant idea to to add a few blank pages at the end of the book so that people could write their own story. And I thought, oh
Oh,
my
I
gosh,
love
that's
that.
so brilliant.
Yeah, that's a
So
great idea.
brilliant. So what was your process, and what did you get out of writing your story and getting that down?
Such a good question. I have to say I was really nervous to write it down.
Mm.
And I had told people verbally about my journey that I wrote about. I'm trying not to give anything away. uh, but what I'll say is one of the themes, or one of the reasons why I felt nervous, is that there was someone that was really important in my life who I mentioned quite a bit in the story, who
Mm.
didn't agree with what I was doing. And I felt a lot of pushback and judgment. So in writing this story, I thought, oh no, now this person's going to read it, or, ugh. Yeah, but and then I reminded myself, wait, if I was constantly worried, the reason it took me so long to stand in my truth was worrying about what other people thought. So I'm not going to allow that to happen now. This is too important to share. So that was something that another lesson coming up. But it also, God, it really reminded me how strong I am. And I really needed that at the time of writing, which you said was March 2020.
Yeah.
And I think everyone needed to be reminded just how resilient and strong we are.
We
Even when
forget,
it
don't we?
seems like it's hopeless. Yeah,
So
yeah, or
easy.
terrifying. So I was reminded just how strong I am, and yeah, my bravery. I'll just say that, because like you said with this book, you didn't have a plan. Okay, this is what I need to do,
Yeah.
but I have no idea how it's going to get done or what it's going to look like, but this is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how I was and what I wrote about my story. I had people legitimately thought I was crazy. I mean, really.
I know what that feels like.
Yeah. The choice
Yeah.
that I made, the choices that needed to be made to get me where I was going seemed a little nuts. Throwing security out the window, basically, and just going for it. So it just reminded me everything, if you're sticking to your truth, if you're walking the path that seems aligned for you, and you keep coming back to yourself and your guidance, you can't go wrong. And that was what I was reminded of when
It's
I was
so
sharing that.
beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Thank
so
you.
beautiful. It's really, it's between you and God, or whatever name you want to give that. But it is, when you're walking through your life, if you can put your head on the pillow at night and sleep and feel good about what you've done, your conscience is cleared because you are living your truth, whatever that means for you. And that means something different to everybody. That's extraordinary. It's extraordinarily powerful because then you can fully be present with people in your life rather than thinking about how you need to be tiptoeing. There's a meme I see from time to time that I just love, and these quotes about, if you have to worry about sharing your truth with someone else, perhaps that love, to keep their love, perhaps you never really had it in the first place.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And what I'm hearing from you is, especially with this person in your life that you shared about, that you were so concerned about the judgment that was coming, that so many times we judge from that place of love, of wanting to protect others from what we think that they should be doing. And
Yes.
there's such healing when we step into our truth, especially with those closest in our lives and our family or our friends or our partner or kids or whomever it is, because they get to have the real us, and we get to experience that they love us for that, rather than they love us for how we're tap dancing in whatever way that we think that they want us to tap dance.
Yeah. Yeah. And something's coming to me to share, and it's partially giving away a little bit of the story, but I really think this is
That's okay.
important, especially after what you just said.
Yeah.
So the person that I was so worried about was my father. His approval meant everything to me, with everything. So when I decided to change careers, oh my gosh. We had a lunch once, and I was telling him what I was doing, and he left the restaurant. Okay, so he was really, really concerned, really thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
He passed away. He passed on in July of last year, and in his process of death, he would say, so I'm a massage therapist, and what he would say, it's going to get me, is that all the times that I offered him treatments, he would turn it down and turn it down and push it away and push it away. And what he said at the end is, my God, all those times you offered me a massage, I wish I would have taken you up on that. So,
Mm. Yeah.
So just like you said, I was just resisting being who I am or talking about certain things, or I didn't want to be woo woo with my dad. I'll just use that, like,
Yeah.
but God, at the end, it's all he wanted was my truth.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah,
beautiful.
it's so important. Your truth is so important.
So
Yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you for sharing that, because there's the relationship between parents and children and siblings is so, oh, Giada, oh my gosh, Jihan, you're sharing is me.
Don't
Me
make me
too.
cry.
That's
I'm
right.
trying.
Me too, Giada. Me too. My goodness. And making me
Yeah.
cry too. But the relationship is so, it's such a gift, the people in our lives that challenge us the most, because it's like the Olympics of being human. Are we going to stand in our truth? Are we going to listen to the guidance that we're being given, even if it sounds crazy? And I love Seal's song Crazy. We're never going to survive unless we get a little crazy. It's like we're never like our soul is never going to survive. Our ego is, and who we think we need to dress up to be for those people in our lives, but our soul is never going to survive unless we allow ourselves to step outside. And the other point you made was, in writing this story, was about comfort and about staying in this secure place. And this is our challenge. I know we've had conversations about this, you and I, but we see this everywhere. This is the challenge, to step outside the comfort zone, step outside what we think we could rely on, which is crumbling before our very eyes. Look at what we've put our faith into and
Mm-hmm.
say, you know what, this is not, these are false idols. Staying in this career, or staying in this adoration of somebody that I thought was giving me the truth but isn't. That takes immense amount of courage to step away from something so familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it sure does. And sometimes it can feel really lonely.
That's
Keep going.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we
Yeah.
don't have that tribal affirmation that is one of the reasons why people stay where they are, is we feel as though we're not going to survive unless we get the people around us to
Mm-hmm.
affirm us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in this story, like, you showed like immense strength for standing on your own and following that. And what a gift to your dad. What a gift to yourself.
Thank you.
But what a gift
Thank
to your
you.
dad.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, yeah, at the end, he died from cancer, and it was very painful for him at the end. And I think now it's just coming to me. If I had stayed doing what I was doing, I would never have had the tools to have been with him in his active dying process took about 48 hours. And I was there with my essential oils and soothing him and rubbing him, and and just giving him energy work. And I could never have done that for him. I could never have been able to walk him through that process the way that I was. And perhaps I would have even felt afraid, if I hadn't spent the last several years seeing what I've seen, experienced what I've experienced. It's just, I just couldn't even imagine what my life would be like. So yeah, I'm so
Wow.
grateful.
What a gift. What a
And it's for
gift.
choosing truth. That's what I really believe. Yeah.
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 And what a gift you gave yourself and him in the end. I mean,
Mm-hmm,
there are
mm-hmm.
some great teachings out there that if we don't know how to die and face that mortality, we don't know how to truly live.
Yeah.
And being with him in those final moments that in our Western society we have overly sanitized and separated from to make it pleasant, we're not face to face with the messiness of death, messiness of life. And what a gift you gave yourself, and just
Thank you.
being able to be there for him. And what a gift to him. My goodness.
Thank
Those
you.
precious moments, like you said, just probably would never have been possible had you not stood in your truth and
Yeah.
had the courage to
Thank
do
you.
so.
Thank you.
So, so
I'm
it's
like,
very
oh, this is going somber. I'm like, let's bring it back up.
well, that's what's so incredible about,
Yeah.
I mean, life is messy, but that's how you
Yeah.
find such freedom, and why for anybody who knows you, like, you have such joy about you, but it's not a flighting sort of like flitzy sort of superficial joy. It is a grounded joy. It's a grounded joy that's real, that you can sit down and you can dance or laugh and still connect with the depth of life. And you're not afraid of the bottoms. And I really appreciate like being able to be with the pain and the messiness of the story. It's just fascinating the freedom that came for you. And I imagine that's, we're talking about like, what does the reader take away? You've already addressed that quite a bit, that, to stand in your truth.
Hmm. Yeah, I hope that's what the readers get out of it. And I can't wait to read the other stories as well from the other authors. Yeah, I'm really excited for this
Oh, that
book.
was the best part of going through this book. I was editing and sobbing at the same time, just like, oh my God, like just going through this whole book. And it was just uplifting me to read your stories. So I thank you so much for being in my life and being willing to share your story, be a part of this book. You now live where, and how do people get in touch with you? Because if you're anywhere near her or in proximity to geography, or if you want to just work with her remotely too, how do they
Mhm.
find you? How do they connect with you, Jihan?
Thank you. Yes, so we recently, my husband and my baby and I, we recently moved to Florida. We're right outside Daytona Beach, which I never thought I would be here, but we followed our truth, and this is
Yep.
where we are. It's beautiful. So I still do not have a brick and mortar set up, but I am
Yeah.
working remotely. So anyone, wherever you are, if you'd like to have, I'm calling them an energetic healing sessions. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We connect through Zoom for an hour, and we go from there. And you can find me on my website, which is jihanessentials.com. And I don't know if I can put it in the comments
Yeah,
somewhere,
I
but
will for sure. Yeah,
okay, thank
absolutely.
you.
Of
But that's
course.
where you can find me, or if you want to follow me on Instagram and get a more of a feel for what I do, you can check me out there. Jihan Essentials is a handle as well. But yep, you just request your appointment, and how I would describe the sessions is like hitting the refresh button
Mm-hmm.
energetically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is I just help you clear out whatever's bringing you down. That's how I would describe what I
Yeah.
do virtually.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well,
Thank
I
you.
can't wait for the release party for the book and get the physical copy in my hands and your hands. But just so grateful that you shared your story with this process. And I do think that that story is going to help people tremendously in ways they don't even know about yet until
Thank you
they
so
read it.
much.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, honey. Well, have a beautiful day. Thank you to all, and thank you for all the audience watching. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad
Thank
you
you.
all. And until next time we see you, keep raising the vibration, everybody. Thank you, Jihan.
Thank
Love you,
you.
girl. Bye, honey.
Bye.